Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk call roll, please?
Counselor Boland.
Here.
Counselor Fisher.
Here.
Counselor Furlow.
Here.
And Counselor Elliott.
Here.
Counselor Grizzle and Reese Camp are absent this evening.
Thank you. We have approval of the council minutes from the July 8th regular session and the July 22nd, 2015 noon session meeting minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to those minutes?
Move for approval.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the previous meetings. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Minutes are passed. Next up is the consent calendar. We have the agenda for August 12th tonight. We have the board minutes from the Bike and Pedestrian Advisory Board from May 28th, 2015, the Library Advisory Board June 9th, 2015, and program approval of the Senior Center Title VI program.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Consent calendar is passed. I have a proclamation tonight, and this is for National Senior Center Month, September. Celebrate life at your senior center. Whereas older Americans are significant members of our society, investing their wisdom and experience to help enrich and better the lives of younger generations, and whereas the Lebanon Senior Center has acted as a catalyst for mobilizing the creativity, energy, vitality, and commitment of the older residents of Lebanon, and whereas through the wide array of services, programs, and activities, senior centers empower older senior citizens to contribute their own health and well-being and the health and well-being of other fellow citizens of all ages. And whereas the Lebanon Senior Center affirms the dignity, self-worth, and independence of older persons by facilitating their decisions and actions, tapping their experiences, skills, and knowledge, and enabling their continued contributions to the community. Now, therefore, I, Paul R. Aziz, Mayor of Lebanon, do hereby proclaim September 2015 National Senior Center Month, and I call upon all citizens to recognize the special contributions of the Senior Center participants and the special efforts of the staff and volunteers who work every day to enhance the well-being of older citizens of our community. Next up, we have public comments, and the council welcomes all respectful comments regarding the city's business. Citizens may address the council by approaching the microphone, signing in, and stating their name and address for the record. Each citizen is provided up to 5 minutes to provide comments to the council. The council may take an additional 2 minutes to respond. The city clerk will accept and distribute written comments at a speaker's request.
Evening, I'm Bill Sullivan, live 435 Carolina. I got my water bill the other day, and according to the chart, I used 1 unit less than I did a year ago. Yet my water bill is $21 more than it was a year ago. I didn't think the increase was that much. And also, I want to thank the chief again for returning my call on my complaint I made when we had trespassers at the city park, that people higher up are give them the key to the city and took the locks and chains off and let them back in. I know few of us got to pay for what everybody else does, or what a few do, but personally, like I was telling the parks manager the other day over there, we need to put a police tape around that park and let people suffer for a while, and maybe they'll learn to take care of things.
Which park are you referring to?
Century Park.
Century?
Thank you.
Mr. Sullivan, I have a question for you, if you don't mind. I saw you passed out a document here for us. I was reading through it, and I was curious about something I read here. Your item number 12 talks about the city hiring another assistant manager, and I guess I'm confused on that point. Are you referring to something that happened before I was the city manager?
Was that young lady that you had here a while back?
Oh, well, then you're mistaken. She's not an assistant manager. She's an administrative assistant. It's a clerical position. She answers my phone, she sends emails, she schedules me. that sort of thing, but she's certainly not an assistant manager.
So she's a glorified secretary?
I don't call her a secretary. I think that's kind of an old-school statement, but she is my administrative assistant, and she does my clerical support. So, but she,
You just admitted, you said you're administrative assistant.
sure, that's the modern term of what you referred to earlier. But she's not a manager. She's not a manager in any form. And so this is a falsehood, and it misleads people when you make these kinds of claims. So,
If you read the beginning of it, it says, "My personal observation, opinion, and view of the city of Lebanon since I have lived here."
I understand that, but what you're saying here is a falsehood. It's not, she's not a manager, sir. She's simply not a manager.
That's your opinion and my opinion.
It's not a matter of opinion, sir, it's a fact.
Well, this old sawdust gets pretty hard to get through at times, but the way I understood the statement that evening, like I said, I'd like to thank the chief again, because he was the only one of the city I told us that I called that returned my call.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Frank.
Anyone else like to speak to the council?
Hi there. I'm the owner of Barb's Property Management here in Lebanon, and this is my first time here, so
And what's your name?
I'll do my best. Valerie.
Valerie?
I'm here on behalf of, I have about 200 properties that I manage, and we're having a ton of theft, just vandalism, theft, drugs, people with guns wandering around in the canal area. So my concern now is at the end of 16th Street off of Sherman, off of 12th Street. On the very end of 16th Street, where it dead ends, there is absolutely no streetlights. And so I have a terminally ill tenant that lives down there, and since day one, he has just been pillaged. Everything has been taken, broken into, gas siphoned. It's a very sad thing to see, and now it's the neighbor that moved in. The police have been called numerous times. They say that they're working on it. I understand they're very, very busy. My concern is we need a street light or something down there. There's no light at all. It's pitch black, and the whole neighborhood down there is just being pillaged, basically. I do know that there's a suspicious house that's right around the corner on 16th Place. I have talked with the police about the house. They want, us to do some work and do the license plates and the people and where they go to and from. It's really hard. They're doing it in the middle of the night on bicycles, so, maybe we can get some patrols here and there. That, I don't know what else to do. We've also got the field that's the north end after 16th Street. So if you walk the canal, there's a big field back there with a bunch of blackberry hedges and some things back there, and we've got transients sleeping back there. And they have been hopping the back fences over the canal back there and breaking into things. Actually broke into a patio slider door with a woman asleep in her bed, one of my tenants. So somebody's going to get shot. The tenants are threatening. They have guns in the home, and they're threatening to shoot people. I'm just wanting to defuse the situation, get something done before something bad happens. Children in that same neighborhood have wandered the canal and saw one of the transients with a gun, and he scared them and told them to leave and pointed the gun at them. Nobody called the police at that point. I tried to do some research with the neighbors, and the kids didn't tell their parents even, but the kid told the last neighbor at the end of the street that he saw a guy with a gun back there being mean. So there's several neighborhoods throughout the good ones and the bad ones, but especially 16th Place, 16th Street, it's really out of control. Maybe doing some research. I think I've even maybe talked to you one time. I'm not sure.
Not sure either.
But we have another house over at 575 Grove Street that has, I'm not sure.
Rose?
Grove, 575 Grove Street. They're having group fights out on the corner of Grove and Ash quite often. Pretty scary. I mean, a whole group of young teenagers, and they're just beating people up left and right. Now, a new tenant that I've placed in an apartment on that corner has lost all of his work tools out of his truck, his kids' bikes. I'm not sure what can be done. We need a little bit more eyes out there, and I don't know if telling all the renters just to keep calling is going to do any good. I'm just hoping for a little more action. Some other things have been done. You know, we've had houses off of Walker by the sheriff's substation down there that was a real big problem. They were stealing our cars out of our apartment driveways and tires off of them in broad daylight, and they're gone. And so that's a plus. That took a long time, and I know that when I talked to the police about that, when we were, you know, they were on top of it, they knew who the people were, and they finally were arrested. So I'm just here to support, you know, trying to stop this in this town. I just see there's a lot of heroin, there's a lot of meth. I mean, heroin is taking over, and it's going to affect everybody here eventually, I think. Is there any chance of possibly getting the street light put up? I think there's a pole down there. There's no lamp at the end of 16th Street.
Chief, could you address the main issues?
Actually, I'm aware of the Grove Street address. It's a headache for me as well. But what I would really love to do is head down and have you come in. I don't know if I've ever talked to you in person before or not.
And my assistant, too. I have her call a lot for me. So.
Yeah. But I would like to have just a conversation with you one-on-one, sit down, maybe go visit the 16th place. I'm familiar with that area as well. As far as the light goes, I don't know how we can accomplish that, but maybe by kind of putting our heads together, contacting some our community policing, Dela, about maybe getting some neighborhood watch, which I think we might have one in that area. So there's some proactive things that we can do, but I'd like to sit down and have a one-on-one conversation so I can kind of get that visual.
There's a lot more addresses I have with a lot more activity.
Yeah, and I would love to know about those. So, yeah, I would. You can come in and make an appointment, or just come in. I'm there Monday through Friday on most times, but I am pretty busy. So, if you want to call me, you have a
I'm going to write your name.
Sure. This is Frank.
Okay.
And if you have if you have my office number, it's 541-258-4312. And if you call me, we'll set something up where we can get together. I know you're probably busy and so forth. So
yeah, there's so many different areas, and you know, I'm sure you're very aware because other people have called, but.
A lot of times it takes, us partnering up with, if you're managing these properties, we can get together and see what kind of.
A lot of the neighbors are scared.
Yeah.
We
and I
asked
don't like to hear that. So
asked them if they'd sign something to send to the owner of the one on Grove Street, and they're like, no, shut the door. You know, those kids are all over the place.
Yes, they are. Yeah, and like I said, I'm very familiar with who you're talking about. So, and it's frustrating for us as well. But trust me when I say we're doing everything humanly possible within the law that will allow us to do that.
Whatever I can do to help, I'll be there.
Awesome. Yeah. So just give me a call and we'll set something up.
Yes.
I'll address the light issue. You said that there was a street light that's out. Is that right?
No, I think there's. The tenant said that there was a pole of some sort down there, but there is no street light down on that end of the street.
Oh, what's the matter? There are no lights.
There isn't.
Correct. Yeah, there's no lights. 16th is a dead end, correct?
Yes.
And at the dead end, there's like a makeshift fence, and just past the fence, there's a open field.
Are there even poles out there?
It's been a while since I've been out there. I don't believe so.
Yeah, the city really doesn't control the street light situation. That's something that the power company is in control of. So, I mean, if it was a matter of a light out, I know we could just get the pole number and report that to them, and they could get that replaced.
Yeah, I don't think there's any actual lights down there. And we've spent thousands putting up a big new fence, around the duplex property, and,
Well, I think
people got bit by their dog.
Yeah, I'm not understanding what the street is, but I think if we could report that street to the power company, I'm not sure what they could do, but we could ask them to look at it.
Okay.
I think
It's-
we can petition.
We can put a light out there.
Can we?
There's a pole. Yeah, we can make that request.
I'm not
Okay.
sure if there's
Part of our street.
Well, there we go.
533 and 543 16th Street is the duplex that's down on the very end, the last address. Is there anything we can do about putting something maybe across to where nobody can cross the canal from the vacant field where the transients are to where the houses start? I know that there's been, little gates
Yeah.
or something across before.
Well, the canal is the jurisdiction of the city of Albany, so I think we'd need to get, no?
It'd be I think you're talking about Burkhart Creek.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just, maybe not the canal, it's a very little
Yeah,
something.
it's a drainage ditch. We would hesitate putting across that. I don't know what we can do. We definitely look at it.
Yeah, I think just getting together and, maybe we can go out and visit the site, me and you, and just kind of take a look and maybe come
That'd be
up with some,
great.
brainstorm and come up with
That'd
some
be great.
ideas, so,
I
yeah.
have, I manage the duplex on that end and a duplex on the corner facing 16th Place, and they've all let me know what's going on with
Well,
what
I'd love
houses.
to get in touch with those neighbors too, so, it's all about communication, so if we don't know, we can't do much about it, but if we know, we
Exactly.
certainly can, so.
I've asked them, did you call again? Because they said the gas got siphoned out of both of our cars just a few days ago, and did you call the police again? They won't do anything, so they're stopped calling now.
Well-
And it's not that you won't do anything, it's that you have to see them, you have to catch them, you have to have proof. You need to know where they're coming and going from,
Yeah.
so.
Well, this is the first I've heard of any transients living over in that area, so, like I said.
Summertime mostly.
Yeah, like I said, I think it'd be good for us to come together and see what we can do.
Okay, all right.
That'd be great.
Just a suggestion, before you meet with the chief, you may have some incident reports that you have in your office. Maybe
I do.
if you have a log of those different properties and the event that you're concerned, I think the chief would enjoy having an opportunity
Okay.
to characterize those different things so that he could do a resource management in and around the different events.
Yeah, we do call quite often to records and get things faxed over to us, one, to check on our tenants, and two, to see what's going on in the neighborhood, so.
Yeah, I'll enjoy the conversation, so.
All right.
Thank you,
very
Valerie.
much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address council? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to the regular session. Number 1, support for Partners for Progress, Oregon Main Street application. City Manager Gary Marks.
The council will recall that on July 22nd, at our last council meeting, that a couple of representatives from the Partners for Progress were here. They asked at that time for the council's support for a Oregon Main Street application. I believe it's a grant application, and they were asking for both a resolution and a letter of support in favor of the application that they would put in, and the council indicated that they were in support of that. So we are back tonight with the resolution and also requesting authorization for the mayor to sign a letter of support. So if there are any questions about the resolution, I or others on the staff will be pleased to respond to those. So I'm here to assist as I can.
Questions? Seeing no questions, we'll have the city attorney read the resolution.
Resolution number 2015-29, a resolution authorizing Partners for Progress to participate at the Transforming Downtown Level Oregon Main Street Program.
Move for approval. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 2015-29. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Resolution 2015-29 passes.
And that includes support for you to endorse the letter,
letter.
or is that a separate? do we need a separate action for that?
No, the motion was all-inclusive.
And number 2, letter of support for conversion brewing outdoor seating at Strawberry Plaza. Gary Marks.
Also, at the July 22nd meeting, the council reviewed the plans for the transformation of what has been known as Mural Park, which we've now renamed Strawberry Plaza. During that discussion, one of the elements of the improvement would be to set aside a space for the new conversion brewery, which is next door, where they can in effect have a small, isolated beer garden. For the brewery to accomplish that, they need to submit that concept along with their OLCC license application. So they have requested from the city a letter of support to that effect, and a item was passed out to you at your place here tonight at the dais with a motion on it, which encapsulates the request of the brewery. And basically, I'll just read it for the record. The motion would be to authorize staff to draft a letter for the mayor's signature supporting conversion brewing to support food and alcohol in a fenced-off area approved by OLCC located in Strawberry Park Plaza, and with an additional note to that motion that the letter of support will accompany the OLCC liquor license that will ultimately come before council for consideration, and that the patio area will not exceed 450 square feet. Also, to keep in mind as you consider this motion is that as we go forward with this concept of the fenced-off beer garden, that there needs to be an agreement developed and negotiated between the city and the brewery to make this happen. We had some discussion about that on the 22nd, but you could view this, if you approve the motion, as the first step in establishing an agreement with the brewery, and we'll be coming back with that document as it's ready to be considered. So if there are any questions about this request or the motion, I'll be happy to respond.
And we don't need a motion, it'll just be a consensus, from what I'm seeing here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
Questions? Discussion?
And we'll be, with the formal agreement, when we get to that point, we'll be discussing
The details.
days and hours of operation, those kinds of things will be included in that.
Yeah, everything, all-inclusive, whatever issues we need to cover, that and more, will be covered in that agreement, yes.
Okay, we have a consensus on that, okay? All right, we have a consensus.
We have the motion. You're going to act on the motion?
Consensus item.
It's a consensus, so everybody just agreed.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
It's not an official motion, that's
Okay.
good. You read a motion-y kind of a thing.
Well, yeah, staff discussion today was for a motion, and
Okay.
so this is a surprise to me, I'm sorry.
Okay. Airport Road Extension, number 3, donation of property for a right-of-way dedication, Ron Whitlatch.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. This has kind of changed a little bit since Monday, actually in a good way. What we have here before you tonight is kind of a long-winded motion. Basically, we're requesting that you approve a motion to allow staff to enter into an agreement with Mr. Badger for right-of-way donation dedication for the extension of Airport Road, with the contingency that the right-of-way will not be filed until we have obtained the property at 295 Russell Drive, which has changed. We did do that yesterday, so that property is, we still have 6 months. The existing owner could actually come back and get that property, but for all intents and purposes, everything has kind of come together there for that. The reason for the dedication, Mr. Badger came to us and asked if we'd be willing to construct the roadway, if he agreed to donate the right-of-way for that. It's a 75-foot right-of-way width through there with a PUE of about, I believe it's 5 foot. And he's willing to donate all that with the with the city constructing the roadway. Roadway can be constructed through use of URD funds. It's actually a URD project. It's been in the refinement plan for the Russell Drive neighborhood project area, and it's also a part of our transportation system plan. I think it's probably a good improvement. It does open up his property for development once he annexes. Bigger picture to us as staff is we'll be able to help alleviate that right turn, left turn at there at Russell Drive and Highway 20. And it'll also help that whole neighborhood flow and put that together. So if this is acceptable to you, Dean and I have been looking at potential bond sales within the Cheetah Lake URD, and we're fairly confident that we could sell a bond that would cover the cost of this construction and most likely cover the cost of reconstructing Russell Drive and taking that up to the tracks, get sidewalks out there in front of the new proposed Community Gardens Park, and eventually, if things work out, would really like to get pedestrian access way out to Cheetah Lake Park. So that's all within our master plan, all within our goals there. So with that, I can answer any questions. And again, we're just looking for a motion to accept the agreement and move forward with this thing.
I'm really excited about this area. It's an area that's not in the greatest of condition. The houses there are just not super great. And I think making these improvements can really start a kind of an improvement down there. We're looking at doing the park right across the street from this, the community garden. And this whole area, I think, would just start blossoming. And I think the property values will go up. People want to build better houses there. I'm excited about it.
Rod, we bought that house yesterday. Does the Urban Renewal District pay for that, or how does?
Yeah, that's the purchase of that will be funded through the Urban Renewal District. So the way this kind of works, we don't have a bond sale. We really want to get started on the project, and I believe I think we budgeted $140,000 in improvements there this year. So that money would be used. The remaining of that would be used to get the project started. It's going to require pretty in-depth traffic analysis, wetlands analysis. It's going to have to go through the whole gamut of things, but it's also SDC eligible up to about 8%. So in terms of getting the project started and getting going, there is funding to hire some consultants to do that piece. We do an in-house design, but a lot of that stuff that we don't normally do on an everyday basis, we'd hire out. So we are preparing to shift gears and start that direction if that's the direction that council would like us to go.
I'll add, just for clarity's sake, that the staff report that you have in front of you and the agreement stipulates that this right-of-way dedication will only become effective if we're able to acquire the other property, 295 Russell Drive. That is the property we acquired yesterday. So we have all of the right-of-way, with this agreement, we have all of the right-of-way we need to move forward with this project.
Yeah.
Now, eventually, when that road comes out to Highway 20, how about a stoplight in there? Is that?
Well, the state's been pretty adamant that they're not going to allow us to have a stoplight, but what I think we're going to find with the traffic analysis, once we get one back, is that they're going to want a right turn only there, off of there, which to me makes sense. We can't completely close that. Obviously, we have businesses there. But it will become a more localized street, and hopefully a majority of people will use Airport Road. But there's a lot of work to do there with the Safeway, and I imagine there'll be a lot of work to do at the Highway 20 Airport Road intersection as well. So it's a fairly good-sized project.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Move for the approval of the agreement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the Airport Road Extension property right-of-way dedication. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Great.
Number 4, award contract for Ash Street sewer installation.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. As you'll see from the memo that I handed out, we opened bids for this project yesterday. We had 3 bidders, which doesn't surprise me this time of year. Everybody's pretty busy. You can see that we have H&J Construction out of Eugene submitted the lowest responsible bid. They were, I know my memo says more than, but it's actually 11.5% less than the engineer's estimate. We've never worked with them before, but they've got everything in line, and they've got their bonds in place, so we're recommending award to H&J Construction for this project. I can answer any questions about it.
What would the proceed date be?
I'm sorry?
What would be our proceed date and completion?
I don't have the documents in front of me. We'll probably start, I'm going off the cuff here, probably 2 to 3 weeks we'd start, and I think we ran a 45-day contract on it. And basically what this project's going to do is it's just going to put in sewer on the south side of Ash Street with laterals going to right away. The existing sewer there runs through the backyards, which nobody's laid claim to. We don't show it in any of our records, although we know it's plugged. We don't have any records of when it was put in, but it serves all those houses down there. And it's failing rapidly. We're not requiring people to hook up. Basically, the letter that we sent to them indicated that we will no longer maintain it, which we weren't maintaining it anyway because we can't get to it to maintain it. So basically, we're just at least trying to provide an option for folks to have sewer. That's one of the reasons we put it out late summer. We hate to put contracts out this late in the summer, but there's probably 4 or 5 houses down there that are really in need of an alternate solution to what they've got going on.
Make a motion to award the Ash Street sanitary sewer installation to H&J.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded to award the contract for the Ash Street sewer installation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is passed.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Number 5, bond refinancing. Dean Baugh, Finance Director.
Well, Ron's trying to spend all your money, so I'm here to save you some money. That's what I'm doing. So we're proposing, I've been talking to KeyBank about refinancing 2 pieces of debt the city has. One is the GO bond that we issued back in 2007 to finance the library and Justice Center. On that bond, we're going to save approximately $922,000 over the remaining life of that bond. This will not extend the bond any, it'll still close at the same time, so we're going to do that. We're also looking at refinancing the Seaman loan, which was also issued in 2007. That's when they were building the cannibal system out at the wastewater plant. So and refinancing that debt, we'll save about $113,000 into the wastewater system. Now, the exciting part about the GO bond one is, if you remember when we go back to the budget, when we do that, we budget for taxes, we say we're going to budget for our tax rate, then there's a separate number for the GO bond. So this is on top of our tax rate. So the $922,000 is not a savings to the city as an organization, but it's going to be a saving to our residents. Because now what I'll have to do is I'll have to ask the county to tax less out to the taxpayers. So like this year I asked for like 1.4 million, I'd ask for 1.3 million next year, so which will mean we're going to tax them less on that part of the debt. So that's the savings to the citizens each year. It may not be a big piece to everybody, but it'll be something to each resident who pays for that bond. So that's what we're asking for here. The bond will close sometime in September is what we're looking at. One caveat, Ron was mentioning Russell Drive. We have asked the bond folks what would be the best way to issue the debt for Russell Drive. Would we do it now and have the money available, wait and issue a separate debt in next January? So they're running some analysis now to see which is the best idea here. Since we don't get this house for 6 months, we're trying to figure out how that's going to work. Because when you issue debt, you have to spend so much money in a certain amount of time. So we may not be able to make it. So we're doing that. Why I bring that up is if we decide to issue that debt along with this debt, we're going to void this resolution and bring you another one, adding that new money in. Just in case you wonder why next month we bring a different resolution. We don't know if we will or not. We're waiting for that analysis right now. So that's our staff report, how much money we're saving. We're asking for your support if you have any questions. Yes, sir.
What are the fees that the bank will be charging for this process?
It's all rolled into the savings, so, and they're projecting our bonds are going to go for a premium. I wish I had this other piece of paper. So like on the justice debt, there's still 15 million outstanding. They're looking at when we're all done, we're only going to have like 14 million something out there, plus the savings, so it kind of all rolls into it. Usually the bond, on something like this, the bond attorney will run about 30 to 40,000, and he's the most expensive part of the whole thing, is the bond attorney. And then there's a bunch of other small fees for the underwriter and then the bank, but the bond attorney's the most. So the total fees in the whole thing will probably run, I'm going to say 100, 120,000.
Okay, thank you.
Dean, for clarity's sake, when you say that, though, when you also say the 950 savings to our taxpayers, that 950 is the net, after you've taken out those fees that we've just talked about.
That's the net after they've taken bond, the bottom number of savings is at approximately 922,000. We won't know the exact number till the morning of closing.
Sure.
And when people start bidding on them.
I just didn't see an estimated cost for the fees, so I just, thank you.
But if you want to see that, I have it's about another 20-page document that breaks out the whole layout of the fees and the whole number crunching.
Was that a 20-year bond?
It was the first one, yeah, I think they were both 20 years.
Both 20s?
So we're about 8 years into each one, so there's about 12 years left.
Good.
I don't think anybody's going to complain about that.
So what we're going to do is the GO bond will stay a GO bond. The Siemens loan will now become a full faith and credit, so because we get better interest rates that way. So that's how it's going to come out.
Great.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll have the city attorney read the resolution.
It's a long one.
It is.
Resolution number 2015-30, a resolution authorizing the issuance and negotiated sale of 1, general obligation advance refunding bonds to advance refund all or a portion of the city's outstanding general obligation bonds, Series 2007, and 2, full faith and credit refunding obligations to refund a financing agreement dated December 27, 2007, designating an authorized representative, underwriter, and bond counsel, authorizing execution and delivery of a financing agreement and escrow agreement and related matters.
Move for approval.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 2015-30. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Bond refinancing Resolution 2015-30 is passed. City Manager's report.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, during the month of July, my activities were probably what you could predict. I was ramping up and beginning the process for our strategic action planning process to come beginning this October. Also, working with the staff team concerning issues related to the Santiam Canal and the City of Albany. Also, as you're aware, because we considered it at the July 22nd City Council meeting, the Strawberry Plaza project, also the community garden. I also attended the Oregon City Managers Association Conference, summer conference in Bend. There were some excellent presentations there. Having one that I was particularly interested in was one that showcased some innovative uses for tax increment financing in Oregon. I was highly interested in a program that the city of Sandy has been engaged in now for 7 or 8 years, and that is a downtown building facade renovation program that has been highly successful. It just happens it was modeled after the same kind of program I've done in 2 of my former cities. So it was refreshing to see that model actually works here in the state of Oregon under the tax increment regulations that we have in place. Moving forward into the current month of August, just yesterday, the RFP, request for proposals for consultant support for our strategic action plan project went out to the consulting community around the state. So we anticipate in almost exactly 4 weeks from now, we'll be closing the window for submissions to that, and we'll begin the process of our consultant selection. So I anticipate that the first community activities related to the strategic planning process are likely to occur in late October. So we're well on our way. And I should add, too, that while we'll probably start in late October, we will be finishing sometime in the month of February. That's critical. I've written that into the RFP for the fact that we want to have the action plan done for identifying projects coming out of the strategic plan for the next fiscal year, which begins on July 1. If we complete that in February, we'll be able to fold whatever those projects are for the next fiscal year seamlessly into the budget that you folks will see in May. So far, so good, and I'm excited that we're beginning this process of our planning effort with the community.
How many do you anticipate throwing their hat in the ring for that?
You know, the last project, the Vision, I think we had 7 or 8 consultants that applied for that work. We have identified some other pools of consultants, other groups that we can reach out to and have with this round. So we've expanded our pool, so I'll be disappointed if I only get 7 or 8. Okay. I can't, it's kind of an unknown until it happens. But we've set ourselves up for, I think, pretty broad participation. This project, too, I feel is a little more straightforward than the Vision process. The Vision process was asking the consultant to start with nothing and to create a document that encapsulated all of the community's thoughts and aspirations about the future of their community. Now that we have the vision in place and identified focus areas, the next task is to have the consultant go out and ask the community or to engage them in a discussion about the types of projects and programs that the community will support to make that vision come true in each of those focus areas. So we've already created the vision. That's a known fact now. So it's just a matter of what are the bridges to implementation. And so I feel that's a more direct kind of project. So I don't know if that'll expand the number of interested parties. I would suspect it would. But time will tell, and by 4 weeks from now, we'll know exactly how many we have.
Any other questions? Items from council.
I have one. It was interesting that Valerie, I think was her name, came and talked about her concerns about crime and about what we can do as a city for them and to support our police department in fighting this crime and the drugs. And we saw it come up in our visioning process quite a bit. I would like to meet with the chief and at least with the mayor and Gary, with you, about discussing a real discussion about the realities of exploring additional manpower specifically for our patrol division. I know those guys are strapped. I know they are overworked, and I know that they've been running at the same level for 20 years. I know that often there are 2 of them on duty, and our town has grown and our crime has grown so much, and the requirements of those officers that we, the community, put on them have grown so much. I really want to get aggressive, and this has always been on my agenda, but I really think it's time that we get our heads together and start working on a plan. It may not be instant relief, it never will be, but I really would like to meet with you guys and with you, Frank, about getting more help for the PD, because I think our community needs it, but our officers need it as well.
I completely agree. I welcome the discussion. I can tell you that we've had some unfilled positions of late here that have hampered the ability of the police department to operate. They make it happen anyway. But I'm pleased to tell you that we've positioned, the chief and I have positioned ourselves that those positions are getting filled soon. But you are correct that some additional positions may be well warranted, and I would welcome that discussion.
Great. Thank you.
I would too. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other councilors' comments? I went to the mayor's conference 2 weeks ago, and it was in Cottage Grove. I think I mentioned a few weeks back that we had applied to bring the mayor's conference here in Lebanon, and I thought we were going to get an announcement at the mayor's conference, and we didn't, but they did decide at the conference. Being this is a public meeting, I won't specifically say, but I did hear a few rumors while I was there at the mayor's conference, and it looks pretty good for Lebanon getting it. I know they were checking out the hotel, and so there's some very positive.
For 16?
2017, actually, 2 years. Next year's is going to be in Lincoln City, and then we would have the next one if we get it. So I'm still very excited about that. Had some great sessions, had one on giving performance evaluations to the city manager, which I thought was an interesting topic. Did some role playing, and it was actually very good. But what was interesting is that we did pretty much everything that the experts from the League of Oregon Cities said. Pretty much everything that we've done, the way we've done it, the process we've done, was all done. And there was even, one mayor there, and this is what's so great about this, is that didn't even realize that technically you're supposed to do, well, it's up to the city manager, but do it in an executive session. They were just doing everything in public and not even asking the city manager. So it was interesting. It was very enlightening. But anyways, it was a good conference, learned a lot. But if we do it in Lebanon, it's going to be the best one I've ever been to. So we'll do it. Anything else, council? Okay, we have a last opportunity for public comments if anybody would like to address the council. And items from the press, but I don't see anybody from the press here. Did we have anybody? Oh, sir, I'm sorry, didn't see him. I don't have my glasses on. Hi. Did you have any questions? Okay. And with that, did you? Sure, go ahead. Sure, Chief.
On the 26th, we're going to have what we're calling a chief, or a lunch with the chiefs, and we're going to be having that at Ralston Park. The hours will be 11:30 to 1:30. That's right. We're providing hot dogs. I think the fire department's providing the donuts. But
that's funny.
But it's just kind of the last summer deal to kick off right before school. So I just want to let you guys be aware of that, and you're more than welcome to come down and invited. And I'd appreciate you guys coming down. We're gonna have bike helmets and have a little bike rodeo, correct? And I think not the dunk tank though. We're not going to have the dunk tank. I don't want to be any. So I guess we're going to have the dunk tank. So anyway, just want to make sure you guys are aware of that, and would love to see you guys down there.
Very
Hot
good.
dogs and donuts will be on the SNAP food list that day.
What was the date on that again, Frank?
It's the 26th. It's a Wednesday, I think. Yeah.
And what was the hours?
11:30 to 1:30.
11:30 to 1:30?
30 to 1:30.
Excellent. That's great, and I really like seeing the police department and the fire department getting together. That's awesome. Very good. Okay. With that, we're going to move into executive session, and we'll take a 5-minute break, and we'll have the chambers clear, and then we'll go into executive session.